Hello and welcome to my book club, Naked and Unafraid. We read two books on repeat. Today we are starting again The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And this sounds like a crazy thing to read these books on repeat, but I have to tell you that this morning I listened to the first three chapters again and my brain expands. So you read a book once and you get certain things out of it and you shift. And then you read it again, and because you shifted, you get other things out of it. So this book is like sacred to me, really. It's sacred to me. I read it at the beginning of the pandemic, and I've told this story before. I won't bore you with it again, but I basically was very, very deeply depressed, and I read this book, and it blew my brain wide open. And I got off of antidepressants that I had been on for close to 40 years, almost my entire adult life. And I've just been expanding ever since. So it's if you have an open mind and if you can kind of really sit with it. I know a lot of people that I've recommended read the book say, like I have a friend and he says, "Oh, it's just like don't worry, be happy." It's so much deeper than that, but a lot of people aren't. Some people it resonates with and some people it doesn't. But for me, it was a boom. So I read this book on repeat. And after I read the other book, A Woman's Guide to Power, I was like, I have to keep reading these books. I have to introduce these books to other people. And so that's why I do the book club. That's when the book club was born. We call it Naked and Unafraid because we are removing all of the crap that we have piled on top of ourselves since birth because we don't need it. It gets in our way. And the way that we will run the book club is that I will kind of do a synopsis of each chapter. And I'm recording this and it's going to go on YouTube. And if you guys don't want to be on YouTube, you just don't talk and the camera won't ever pick you up. If you have something to say and you want me to talk about it, then put it in the chat. I may or may not be able to see it. And I'll try and talk about it. What else? What else do I tell you guys when I start these things? I think that's it. We are on our third go around of reading this book. We just finished reading A Woman's Guide to Power, and I can't wait to read it with you. So I will I won't read, I'll do like a synopsis, my own words of the chapter, and then we'll pause and have any questions or ahas. And I have just been traveling with these books for a while, so I know nothing more than you know, but I might be able to tell you, what has happened in my life or something like my interpretation of what it means because it's kind of deep. It's kind of very simple, but it's also kind of very deep. So, are you guys ready? My nose is running a little. It's probably the perfume that I'm wearing, the new perfume that I don't like that I talked about before I started recording. Okay, so as we arrive, I want us to just kind of take a breath together and settle into our bodies. Okay. So we're going to talk about the first three chapters of this book. And these three chapters are like the foundational, it builds on each other. And once you kind of get the first three chapters, the rest should be easier. They're not easier. But this is the foundation of the book. So chapter one is called The Voice Inside Your Head. And really, the whole point of this chapter is that we are not the voice inside our head. The voice talks and talks and talks, and we identify with it because that is what we've done growing up. We think that that voice is who we are, and we are not that voice. That voice is something that narrates the world, narrates what we're doing, brings up things that we're feeling, And it's really an attempt to kind of narrate the world so that we can have some sense of control, because we do not like that we have absolutely no control over what's going on outside. So, in order to feel like we have some sense of control, we narrate the world with the voice in our head. And so, when I first read this, I was like, what do you mean we're not the voice in our head? That's me. I'm talking. What do you mean that's not me? And what it means is that I'm not the voice that's talking. I'm the one that's hearing that voice. So if you start to talk in terms of soul or, our higher being, I'm aware that that voice is happening. I, Carrie back here, who's all knowing and, like I never see her. She knows everything and she's watching that voice that's yapping. Like right now I'm like, "Oh God, I didn't know what to say right there." And I could see my voice talking. And that's like the whole secret to the whole thing is if we can step back and be aware of that voice that's talking, we can be free. And this was like revolutionary to me when I heard it, when I read it. All right, let me give you another couple things that I wrote down. Sometimes we'll be just driving and we'll think, well, driving is a great example because when we're driving, we get annoyed by the driver in front of us and we start talking to him like he can hear us. We start to think, oh, I should have done the dishes before I left for this, whatever outing. I should have called my sister back. Our voice is just narrating and talking about whatever, literally whatever, anything. When we try and go to sleep, sometimes we're thinking, oh, I can't go to sleep. I'm so stressed about this thing. And the voice is just going. And if we can say to ourselves, I am not that voice. I am the one that's hearing the voice. I am the one paying attention to the voice. And we cannot do it at first. Like when we first are kind of clued into this concept, it is impossible to even separate ourselves from the voice. It's impossible. So give yourself a little grace, and just know that we all have done this. We grew up believing we were the voice. So when we start to say to ourselves, "Oh wow, hold up. I am not that voice. I am just the awareness." Just take a breath and realize that we're all doing the same thing. And the noticing of the voice is the thing that's going to start to free us. And the more you notice it, the more free you're going to get, the more free you're going to feel. Okay, so here's an example. We can say, we can ask our voice to say hello in our head. So do that with me now. If you could just imagine in your head, you're making that voice say hello. And I could say it over and over and over again. I'm the one that's hearing the voice say hello. I'm the one that's aware that the voice is saying hello. I am not the thing saying hello. It's a little crazy when you first hear it, but it is absolutely true and will take you all the way. Okay, so then I wrote down some discussion prompts. That is kind of the end of chapter one, the one big thing in chapter one. And if you guys want to talk about anything like, did it resonate with you? Do you have any questions? Do you have any ahas? Do you have any, what the fuck are you talking about, Carrie? This would be the time for us to talk if you want to talk. And if you don't, I will just keep moving on along. And I'm practicing with that silence.
So if we're not the voice, what is the voice?
The voice is our psyche or our ego that is talking to make us comfortable. So those are like big words, right? But we kind of know what they are. But your ego, your psyche, it's a model that we've developed. So since birth, we are birthed and we are like bombarded with all of these things that are happening outside of us. And we start to create this model to make ourselves more comfortable. So, like, I have a blankie, I sleep in this crib, this is my mommy. That is part of the model that we create. And then the voice, once we become, like we can talk, we start narrating what's happening. My blankie is blue. Where's my blankie? That's my mommy. It is the model itself that is talking to make us feel more comfortable, right?
You just said something made me really think of something. Like, does a baby have voices?
I
Does a
thought that
baby?
too,
What is a baby? What goes on in a baby's mind? I wonder.
right?
Something must.
Something must, but they don't have language yet.
No.
But I mean, they identify with the blankie, like if that and you identify with your crib, if that's where you sleep, identify with your mommy, that's my mommy. Yeah, I mean, the baby must be, there's something going on. It's maybe not that voice that's like using the language that we know, but maybe it's using some other, like it's has to be comforting itself in some way. I don't know. Such a good question. Grace.
I was introduced to a version of this. So I think different, you asked, what's the voice? And I think probably different paradigms have different answers to that. And I don't
Yeah.
know that any of them are right or wrong. Some of them you might relate to more, but when I was going through mindfulness stuff, it was a long time ago, maybe a decade ago now. The guy that was teaching that or leading that so it's from a Buddhist perspective, was saying, just like the stomach secretes stomach acid, the mind secretes thoughts, like it generates thoughts. It's just like what the brain and the mind does. And I found that so freeing because it was just like, oh, and they would say, like, these aren't your thoughts
Right.
and you can't necessarily stop them from happening, but that's not even the point. It's like you just don't have to believe them.
Right. Exactly.
So you have a much freer relationship. And it feels very, when you started talking about this from the first chapter, I was just like, yep. I mean, it feels, in a way, it kind of doesn't matter what paradigm you have about it. It's freeing.
Yeah, it is so freeing. And your mind just keeps secreting these thoughts. Like that is like what it does. And we give it all the weight in the world. And we think, okay, I gotta go do what my mind is telling me to do. And we just don't.
And the majority of it is probably, I'm just going to make up a number here, but the majority of it is probably the 20 same thoughts. And then there's maybe 150 that you know, that we cycle through. And then there's another woman I've been listening to, and she talks about how we think that we're thinking, but she said that what the brain actually is good for is registering that something's happening. But we think it's thinking. We think we're creating it with our thoughts, and it's like, no, actually, we're just registering something, and it's actually really good at that. But then we think that it's doing things that it's not, and that it's us, and
Yeah. As we get further on in the book, he talks about why it's creating these thoughts. So it gets like more layered. But I love that you brought up, you read something 10 years ago. It's literally, I mean, I think of it like this. It's all the same. Like it's all the same. It's in a different, it is talking about it in a different container, a different way of speaking, a different language. Someone explained it in a different way so that it could actually, so I could hear it and understand it. That's why I love this book. I kind of sometimes refer to it as spirituality for dummies because I truly like the words spoke to me in such a way that I could get them and understand them. Whenever, it was about Buddha or Jesus or soul, it was like I just I couldn't grasp it and I probably like shied away from it. But this was so simple.
Well, and that's what I appreciated when that guy shared that he didn't share it like this is what Buddha, he just shared it like your brain is an organ. It secretes thoughts, and I was
Yeah.
just it's like, oh, okay. So it's biological. I don't know. It just was very freeing because it didn't feel, even though he was maybe based in an ideology, he wasn't, what he shared felt more organic than that. And I got it in a different way. And then when I hear it from you in this way, it's like, oh, it's like we get different angles at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to chapter 2. Okay. One other thing that he said in chapter 1 was that life is going to happen regardless. So we have these thoughts that keep going on. We think we're controlling and we're narrating, but the sun is going to come up regardless of what our voice says. So that just, I mean, whoa, right? The sun is going to come up, life is going to happen. It doesn't matter what that voice is saying in our head. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that because I had written it down. And then he says, once you realize that there's a you watching the voice, that's when your spiritual journey begins. So it's like the whole thing. Once you realize it, you can say, oh, okay. And that gives me such peace just right there. Like we've realized it, we know it, okay, like let's go, right? I get so hopeful. Okay, chapter 2. So, chapter 2, he introduces this concept of having an inner roommate. So, he says, okay, imagine that that voice in your head is actually your inner roommate, and take that voice out and sit it next to you on the sofa while you're watching TV, while you're making dinner, while you're taking a shower, and look at what it's saying to you. And we all know that it's nonstop. It's got arguments, it has good things to say, it has mostly bad things to say. And if we can see it as an inner roommate that we would take out and puts on the sofa, we can start to see that, oh my God, I'm listening to basically a madman, like all day long. I'm listening to this madman. And this madman is like, he's I don't know why I've made it a he, but right now it's a he, it's a madman. He's right, I don't know, 20% of the time, and 80% of the time he's worried about something that never is going to happen, worried about something that happened in the past, or he's just plain out wrong. He's given me some kind of advice that I've moved on with, and it was wrong, and I fell on my face for whatever reason. And I never question that guy. I never go, I never fire him. I never get rid of him. So imagine if you hired like a financial advisor and and 80% of the time it was wrong. What would you do with that guy? You would fire him. But we go back and we listen and we keep listening regardless. It changes its mind. It could change its mind like in the 10 seconds that if I were to count down from 1 to 10, it could have a completely different opinion. Well, maybe I should do this. Well, no, maybe I should do this. Like it has both sides of the coin, and we're like jumping from this to this. It's a lot and it's exhausting. So he puts it in terms of it's an inner roommate, put it on the sofa, listen to it, recognize it is a madman, and notice when it starts talking and notice that we don't have to listen to it. And if it were a friend of ours talking to us the way our mind talks to us, We wouldn't tolerate that. We would get rid of that friend. Okay, so the voice is like a neurotic roommate you've let move in rent free. Yes. And it creates melodrama. I literally, every time I reread this, I'm like, yes, it's exactly what I'm doing. I had a friend, we had like a kerfuffle, and she had to pause. She was pissed at me, and I have been having this melodrama ever since that happened. What did I do? Oh my God, if I hadn't done this, what can I do to make it up to her? How can I'm having a melodrama. What if I just said, okay, she is where she is. She's having a issue. I clearly, did or didn't do something. Let me just let her have her thing and let me keep going back to her with love. And if she's ready, we'll be ready to move forward. I mean, why am I having this full-on melodrama in my brain over something that somebody else did? It's exhausting. And that's why I keep rereading the book because I don't see it. I don't catch myself in that. I think, oh my God, how can I make this better? What did I do? Oh my God. It's exhausting. And we don't have to live like that. We just don't. And he asks us to say, instead of, what should I do about this? Which is the question. Oh my God, this friend is upset with me. What should I do about it? He asks us to say, what part of me is upset? What part of me is upset? And if I mean, I can't do it right now because I can't really think into it right now. But if I close my eyes and think, what part of me is upset, something bubbles up. And if I focus on that instead of what should I do about it, that will help me release whatever's coming up in me around that. And then he says, if we can see the disturbance, if we can see that I'm disturbed, we also can know that we are not that disturbance. So there's like a subject object thing that's happening there. I can see that I'm upset. I can see I'm upset that my girlfriend got upset with me. If I can see it, then I can know that I am not that disturbance. That's just an object that I'm looking at. Oh, like it just releases all of this. I don't have to dive headfirst into this drama that I'm having with this friend of mine. I can see it and know that I'm not it. And I don't have to ask my brain, what should I do? All right. And I know that we can all think about melodramas that we have, that we've created, that we overly obsess over. And what if we didn't do that? Like, what if in the past week that I've been obsessing over this melodrama, what if I didn't do that and I went and cured cancer? I mean, it's a waste of our time. I mean, it's not a waste of my time that I love her and care for her and want us to, but it's a waste of my time to be thinking, what did I do? Because I can't change it. It's a waste of my time to be thinking, what can I do? I mean, I did what I could do, and then I need to move on because I have cancer to cure, as an example, which I'm probably not going to do in my lifetime, but it's wow. Instead of, yeah. Okay, then the final thing I wrote down about this chapter is that freedom begins the moment we decide to be free. So freedom begins in the moment that we say, okay, I'm just not going to do this anymore, regardless of whether we do it anymore, because we're going to do it again. I promise. Unless you're like some kind of superhero, which we all actually are superheroes. I believe that. But we have habits. So if we just say, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. Good. Yes. Awesome. You're with me. But we're going to keep doing it. So just keep falling down and getting back up. Like that's how we get to freedom. And if we just say to ourselves, oh yeah, there's my voice again. There's my voice again reminding me that my girlfriend is pissed at me and what can I do? Oh, there's nothing I can do. So I'm going to go cure cancer, or I'm going to make dinner, whatever, or I'm going to go enjoy my husband. I mean, can you see it? It's just such a mess we make. Okay, that's the end of chapter 2. Did you guys have anything about this chapter? Do you have any ahas? Do you have any questions? How do I lower my hand? Okay. And if you don't, we will roll into chapter 3. And this is me just playing with the silence, which I'm not good at all. See, I have to fill it. Okay, we're going to roll into chapter 3. Chapter 3, who are you? Okay, this one, he has a quote that I didn't write down, but he has a quote from Ramana Maharshi that I also didn't write down. But he says the one thing that we need to keep asking ourselves is who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And when someone asks us, who are you? I go, I'm a woman, I'm 58 years old, I have this hair that I really like right now today that sometimes I don't always like. I am in this white body. I'm married to my husband, Rod. I have 2 kids. I went to college. Okay, that's not really who I am. That's a description of who I am. Like I have blonde hair. I went to college. Yes. But what if I had brown hair? What if my hair's changing its color to gray? The horror. Things shift and change. And who am I? Am I still the same person that had that blonde hair? If my hair is now gray, yeah, I kind of am. Am I still the same person if I wasn't married to my husband, Rod? Yeah, I kind of am. Am I still the same person if I didn't go to college? Um, yeah. And then he brings up, okay, when you look in the mirror, I look back at myself, I'm getting older. Oh my God, it's not fun at all. I just really don't like it. And as things shift and change, and I look at myself in the mirror at 58, when I looked at myself at age 10 in the mirror, who was I looking at? Was that a different person I was looking at? No, it was still me. Just because things have changed and shifted, I'm still the same person back here, the soul that is looking at this and can't deal with whatever's happening? So we're not our name, we're not our history, we're not our thoughts. We are the awareness, the person back here, the soul back here that is aware of what's happening, that is aware of what I'm seeing in front of me. Okay. And then he talks about Descartes, who's a poet, I guess. He said, I think, therefore I am. So if our thoughts stopped, are we still here? Yeah, so I think he got it wrong. I think therefore I am. If our thoughts stop, we're still aware. If we could get our thoughts to stop, which is impossible, we would still be aware. So we're here as long as we're aware of what's happening. And then he talks about if you're in a room and there's a sofa and a piano and a choir, and if those things go away, if the sofa goes away, Am I still in that room? Yes, I'm still in that room. What if my arm goes away? I'm still there if my arm goes away. But if my awareness goes away, then it's all gone. So our awareness is the thing. That's that thing that's back here that is aware of what we're seeing, that's aware of our thoughts. I don't know that it's both it's both a very big concept and also like a very simple one. You know, like I'm sitting here talking to you guys about this and I'm like, yeah, but as soon as I get off this call, it just goes out. It just, but that's why I do this, is so that I can remind myself. And then he says that being aware that you're aware is also starting this whole process of, okay, I see it now. I'm not my hand. I'm not the room I'm sitting in. I'm not the blankie. I'm the awareness, this thing back here that is aware of what's happening. Okay, and then one other thing that I didn't write down, I don't know why I didn't, but he talks about this thing called witness consciousness, which is basically what we've been talking about the whole time, but it's sit yourself instead of being focused on this and what's going on, sit yourself in the seat of witness consciousness and be aware of what's happening. So if we can take a breath and notice that we're caught up in the disruption or the disturbance, if we can step back from that and say, okay, I'm not the disturbance, I'm the one seeing the disturbance. He calls that witness consciousness, and he calls that sitting in the seat of witness consciousness and being in the seat of the seer, the one who's aware. So that was a really big concept when I first learned it. Um, it's not as big of a concept now, but people do talk about that, witness consciousness. And when I hear him talk, I listen to his he has a podcast. I listen to what he says, and he says that's just the start of it. He doesn't he it when I first read it, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm always gonna go sit in that seat if I can remember and if I can find it. And that's just the start. Like that's not at all like the end all be all. It is just a, a start of where we can step back from this. And then once we practice doing that, then this whole other world opens up to us that we just, it's right there, but we can't see it because we're so focused on ourselves. So that is the end of chapter 3, my loves. Did you guys have anything from this chapter? I think I'm remembering that I used to read chapter 1 through 4, but I don't have 4 prepared. So do you guys have anything from this chapter that you want to talk about?
Well, it's been a long time since I read it. I need to reread it. But does he say in there when you were saying Descartes says, I think, therefore I am, and you said he got it all wrong? Does he mention in there? It should be I am, therefore I think.
Ooh, that's a good one. Perfect. Done.
Right.
He doesn't say that, but that's so good. You're exactly right because I am and like this thing is happening.
Yeah, meaning the awareness, like I am, meaning the awareness, right? You're the one, you keep saying that we're the one that's aware of what's going on. So the awareness, I am, therefore I think. That's the voices in my head think.
Yeah. Yeah, I am human. I have this wonderful brain that is yapping at me nonstop. Therefore, I think. Yeah, he likes to throw in, certain mentors or thoughts or things that we think about. I think at one point I had written down the definition of a thought, but it's not in here. But that's in here too. I mean, it's just so good to read it again and even to listen to it. I listened to it this morning. So, and there's just always something new that comes to me. And always it brings me back to, oh yeah, I'm doing it again. And it's such a good reminder. It's just, it really is freeing and relaxing. And I just, I'm so happy that I don't even remember what brought me to the book. I mean, I know it was the beginning of the pandemic, but I don't know why this book, like how it landed for me. But when I read it, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this thing all wrong. I mean, I am doing it all wrong. And I was like to my husband, oh my God, I'm doing it all wrong. You have to read the book. And he's read it a couple times, but it hasn't hit him the way that it hit me. Yeah, for whatever reason. So now he has me to, give him little tidbits. He's like, oh God, not the book again.
You've become the voice in his head.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, now it's literally just a look. I don't have to say anything. And he goes, yeah, I know. It's awesome. All right, ladies. Wow, we're finished a little early. I should have prepared that other chapter, but I didn't. So, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
So this is the first time I've known about the book club for a long time, and the first time I made it. But is it usually on Saturday? Because today's Friday, right?
Yes, yes. We did have it on Saturdays, and I've shifted it to Fridays.
Okay. It will
Yeah,
be Fridays moving forward.
Fridays moving forward. Yes. Friday book club. Woo! I shifted it because I'm doing another thing on Saturdays, so I couldn't do it. So, and it's good to change things up. I mean, some people are available on the weekends, some people are available during the week, and we'll just, see how it goes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Every Friday or once a month?
every Friday.
Every Friday.
Unless something happens and then I send out an email. Are you on the email list?
Yeah, I just got on it like yesterday, so that's how I knew about today.
Yes. And then I have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, but I'm trying to figure out where to put us somewhere off Facebook. So there's going to be some kind of group that I'll talk about everything that's going on. But if you're on the email list, then it's all good.
All
I
right.
just want to say it was a full meal. I don't think you needed to do another chapter.
Yeah, it was a full meal. I agree.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of the book, it has part one. Part one is called Awakening Consciousness, and there are 4 chapters. So I, in the past, had gone through the different parts. So part one is 4 chapters. Part two, I think, is 3 chapters. But it doesn't matter. It is the way it is, and I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm not going to listen to my mind. The thoughts that incessantly, oh, Carrie, you didn't do that chapter. Whatever is what it is.
And we don't do labs with this book, right?
No,
Okay,
we
that's
don't.
with the Unbound.
Yeah,
Okay.
we might. I mean, this book doesn't have any exercises. The
Mhm.
other book has exercises. So we might like there might be a week where I say, okay, let's do something from the other book because there's so many good exercises in there,
Mhm.
but I don't plan on doing them.
Okay.
But
I'm
I do like
I'm
having
purely asking from a calendar perspective.
okay, all right.
I had like that time in my calendar, so I'm gonna erase it.
Perfect.
Yay!
Grace getting organized. Awesome. All
Thank you.
right, ladies. I'm sorry. I
I
interrupted.
said thank you. That's all right.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna close this out. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for reading the book. Thank you for taking yourself on. Thank you for helping me take myself on, because rereading this, it's perfection. I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.